This is the EGC 20k Age of Empires 4 tournament. The quarterfinals are on, the last 8 generals are battling it out, and one war is on Game 4. Hello everyone, welcome to the wonderful world of Tamriel, or whatever world this game is set in. My name's Anuki, and I live in a cave. Here are some other realities. They are southern side up, harnessing the fury of France for the first time in this best of 5. It's MarineLord. They've retired from lording marines, now they're part-time lord of peasants. Over the hills and far away, there's just no room for diplomacy for the Mista in the yellow? Okay, if you're listening, Relic, we don't just need an ability to choose 8 colors. We need the ability to choose more than 8 colors, maybe even a color wheel, a hue select, a hex code input, as well as options for players to choose in the options what colors they want to see all other players in the game. Player 2 should always be this hex code, Team 3 should always be this color, and so on. Anyway, now that our list of demands to Relic is over, we'll look at the map, Mountain Pass. It's a simple map for simple people. There's just this big mountain between our 2 French commanders, only one way in and one way out. I think we've explored everything France has as a civilization, but when it's a mirror match, it no longer becomes about what it is you are playing, but rather how it is that you are playing it. In this case, how is each general in command going to play out their battle in the Mountain Pass? Let's first ask, why France? To answer this, we'll have a quick recap. How is it that we've got to the 4th match and no one has won as France yet? In round 1, the Mista lost as France because of MarineLord's English longbows taking the initiative and striking first, utilizing the network of castles bonus to give them the edge on offense. In round 2, it was Mongols versus Rus, saving France for a rainy day. The Mista won as Mongols. Round 3, the previous match, the Mista lost again as France. They never felt in a strong position to attack, always on the defense. And now in round 4, they will try France for a 3rd time, and this time, France cannot lose. What civilizations are being chosen also comes down to the map selection, but what intrigues me here is that the next map is Boulder Bay, which contains a vast ocean to wage water combat on, and France is highly desirable on water maps. So why have both generals picked France here? MarineLord only needs 1 more win, so if they pick France here and win, then it won't go to Boulder's Bay. If they lose, they can still play France again on Boulder's Bay. That's rather simple deductions. The alternative civilization to play, your Holy Roman Empire, Chinese, Delhi Sultanate. You don't want to play into France. England and Mongols, MarineLord's already won with them, which leaves Rus and France. So when you ask the question to MarineLord, what would you rather play, Rus or France? MarineLord answers France. What about the Mista? The same rules apply. If they lose here, then there's no match 5, and they obviously feel confident enough to try a 3rd time with France. Are they going to change anything this time round? The last 2 attempts at France, the Mista has been on the defense. Mountain Pass does lend itself well to being defensive, but so did Mongolian Heights, and the Mista didn't close the doors on the choke points, and MarineLord's Mongols roamed the lands freely. The biggest difference this time around is that MarineLord is also playing France. No fast longbows, no double producing spears. The earliest game power France uniquely has is its Royal Knight, so a mirror matchup means similar pacing, and pacing so far has been a problem with MarineLord outpacing the Mista. God, it would be so good to see an outpost right here, and I know I've been wanting a good-looking outpost for a long time. Wards win games, people! Wards win games. Now, where was I? Yeah, to sum it up, similar pacing means that the Mista might be able to keep up. Tuning into what's going on, the Mista, camouflaged in yellow, discovers the gold mine. Might be a target for some soon-to-be Royal Knights. France versus France, both generals look to attack or protect gold sources. They need all the gold they can get to pay their knights. Also, collecting a couple of sheep that MarineLord missed. We've got a palisade wall cutting off a small path into the Mista's settlement. And it's identifying cost-effective measures like this that really dampens France's raiding power. If you go over the games in the tournament played out so far, you can see how reliant France is on the element of surprise, as the majority of generals are able to retreat their villagers to safety, and then it comes down to just how long you can keep the villagers away from mining, which is trickier to handle without losing knights to other knights on the defense most of the time. MarineLord showed a great defense and offense with the spears in the previous game, and I'd like to see France bring out some spears. I truly would, and I know it would be highly effective, but the thing with that is 3 weeks after launch, people have not had enough time to test the all kinds of different responses you could do. It's word of mouth at the moment. You play France, you mostly all in with Royal Knights. That's the effective, proven strategy. That's the safe strategy. And with big money on the line, nobody wants to risk trying a different strategy. The Mista has multiple scouts out ready to pick up deer, and survival techniques being researched. It's a safe way to secure food early on, keeping villagers close to the town center rather than building mills out in the open, which would be susceptible to raids. The way the landscape is, though, the Mista and MarineLord have safe lands to the west that they could lock off, excellent farmlands, and MarineLord is also mirror matching this up, keeping it symmetrical, collecting deer, taking it back. A happy villager is a villager collecting meat for the kingdom. Alright, it's another long build-up time and another time for adverts whilst wolves attack knights. If you are interested in Age of Empires 4, then there's two places to check out. The first is the EGC Discord. They are the ones hosting this fabulous event, and they are doing weekly events with big events planned in the future. 2 Royal Knights are going to say no to MarineLord. We saw you coming a mile off. All epic stuff for the EGC, I assure you, and we'll be covering some of those events here on the Ironcast YouTube and Twitch channel. We also have future plans which are welcome to everyone. You don't need to be good at the game, although it certainly does help. You can also find me in the Ironcast Discord, so why not pop down and we can share a pint of tea. That link is discord.me/Ironcast. All the details in the video description, so let's move on, shall we? So, MarineLord trying to enter the Mista's village with a single knight. Permission was not granted, and you can bet your butt cheeks more knights are on their way to try again. With so many scouts and so little room to move around, you'll be hard-pressed to actually get the drop on anyone, so I can't see there being any real results from early game pressure. Once again, it is MarineLord that passes the initiative checks and is getting all the turns to attack. That's such a sweet spot for a gold mine. Nice and at the back, we've got more blue knights on the move in the mountains. Certainly an advantageous scouting spot for MarineLord to peer over the edge, but the reverse is also fine. You can stick scouts or towers at the bottom of the cliff to look over, at the cost of breaking my immersion, I suppose. MarineLord trying the more predictable side this time. So predictable, in fact, that there is a wall there. Those gold miners, they're safe, secure. You know, tuck them in bed, kiss them goodnight, shut the door, and worry not as to count the amount of times their pickaxe hits the gold vein to help them fall asleep. And the Mista spots this, so they can move their knights on this strange intercept path. These forests create a nice choke. Here comes MarineLord's knights moving down. The Mista unsure. They have 3 knights themselves. They'll rope some willing scouts to rack up the numbers. And no fight comes of this. Now, MarineLord did appear to be saving resources to go to the Castle Age, which might give them an edge here because the Mista has only started stashing some food. And I think it's a shame we didn't see a second town center come out, given how defensible this map is. It would have been a real power play move, especially for MarineLord, since the Mista doesn't seem to have a mean bone in their body. They just only attack if provoked. And you have to do a lot of poking this friendly beast, apparently. A yellow scout ahead of MarineLord's knights, keeping tabs on their movement. Ooh, they need to be careful. Gotta keep on moving. The Mista might be thinking, after only seeing 3 knights, MarineLord has to be going Castle Age. I better do the same. Pacing has been a problem. They can't afford to be outpaced again on France. Maybe there is an opportunity, they say to themselves. A window I can climb through and knock objects off of furniture, and hopefully they will break, but a chip or a crack is fine. They're bringing all of their knights. They're full power. But there's some kind of time dilation. Perhaps it's a force field. I don't know. They've stopped in their tracks. It feels so good to attack right now. An angel on their shoulder whispering in their ear, you shouldn't take it out on the villagers. It wasn't them that attacked you. The Mista's cautiousness enables MarineLord to freely harvest the fruits of the land. Here they come. After much warning, what can they get? There's a mill to the left with a few berry harvesters. The gold mine is on the other side of the village. They don't need to kill, just disrupt. They could split some knights off. They have the numbers. Killing a few knights would also be rewarding. One spearman takes a face full of Francelot, fresh out of the barracks. He was sold a lie. Yeah, you'll be great against cavalry, untouchable. Now go out there and point it to the horse's heart. Demolished. It's cool to see some spearmen, though. The defense is just fine for MarineLord. Castle Age is not too far away, but they're still gonna be having these growing pains. They need to grow into the Castle Age, get the tech advances, build up the numbers, take advantage of something that the Castle Age has to offer. It's the Mista, which is currently in the more favorable position. And maybe spearmen can be a way to help MarineLord's growing pains, but with only a single barracks, I think getting the number of spearmen they'll require won't be possible, as the Mista adds more knights to the pack. Look at that, though. The Mista also reached the Castle Age. They caught up pretty quickly. There isn't too much to say about the Guild Hall. It's a fairly standard landmark choice that can generate an extra resource of choice for our general. Scout goes pop, and the Mista satiating their taste for blood for the next minute at least. MarineLord has a decent amount of food and wood stocked up, but winter isn't coming. They'll want to find a way to spend it. Both generals having just upgraded their Royal Knights, new armor, weapons, and horses teleporting around them. The Mista does have a second division of knights to the east. I think they were trying to pull MarineLord's defenses to the west, but the scouts spot this little maneuver. And a few spears are ready on guard to die if necessary to protect the gold workers. The Mista has the scout doing work too. With the defensive army over in the east, they can attack in the west. And I love that these scouts are integrated into these armies for that vision. They're like the group leader making decisions. MarineLord rode over to the west. Now the east is vulnerable again. The spears are still there, but the numbers just don't match. The workers pulled away from the gold. I see 3 casualties, and the villagers just stopped. That could have been disastrous. MarineLord did realize, and they've got a lot of urgent matters that require attentiveness. If the Mista keeps doing this, we'll be going on to a full best of 5 because MarineLord can't comfortably build outwards. Meanwhile, if we look at the flourishing settlement belonging to the Mista, it's fine for them to gather away from the town center. Their gold mine is even depleted. That is a really strong sign of doing well economically, and they've had 2 games to practice France with against MarineLord. Maybe to some degree that has helped. Even the smaller part of the Mista's cavalry looks equal to what MarineLord has fielded. Fighting cavalry with cavalry, it just can't really be done reliably. If you don't want to fight right away until you do want to fight, the Mista adding some knights to their second squad, turning that into an undesirable fight for MarineLord. A second town center right on the next plot of gold. They want a safe way to maintain some gold, somewhere for the villagers to hide when under attack. Now, I don't like to say whether something is a good move or a bad move. That doesn't interest me. What I like to say is what I think the generals are thinking, what their plans are, what their rationale is behind a decision. MarineLord is thinking short-term with this town center, when usually town centers are a long-term investment. That's what I find interesting. To add to that, MarineLord is making some barracks near the town center. They want more spears, sure, but they also want the buildings to create more choke points. Look at all those knights, though. MarineLord is severely outnumbered. Is the Mista all in? Villagers losing their life. The town center filled fast. The Mista pulls back from the choke a little. Yellow knights right around the town center, around the semi-built barracks, striking from behind. The attack order executed successfully and the white flag is raised. Southern Blue France has been defeated. The Mista picks up a win as France, finally. And we are going to the final match, the 5th match. And that is on Baldur's Bay. There will be no halts for the Mista. My name's Anuki, and I'm going to Boulder Bay now. I just cannot wait. See you soon.